Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn and today I'm going to make a holiday card featuring some of the Glimmer for the Holidays collection that released by Spellbinders earlier, I think it was just last month. And I've already glimmered everything, so you won't see any glimmering on camera, but what I do when I pull off the foil is I do like to take a Swiffer cloth and just wipe down the panel. And I find that it does a really good job of just pulling off any excess foil that might not have lifted off completely. So it hasn't really overfoiled. It's just that the parts that did foil are just hanging on to some bits of foil. So just rubbing this Swiffer cloth over the panel helps to just clean that up a little bit. For the most part, I find that when I glimmer onto the Spellbinders specialty paper, I really don't have any issues at all. And just that little bit of Swiffering does the trick. Sometimes when I glimmer onto other cardstock, I might get a little bit of underfoiling or overfoiling. And in the case of overfoiling, taking a white eraser can sometimes also help to remove that overfoiling. So what's really cool about the Glimmer plate that I'm using today, which is called the Full Bloom Poinsettia hot foil plate, is that it actually comes with a coordinating set of stencils. And the stencils are really awesome because they help you to really quickly and easily color in that glimmered image. And this particular stencil set is designed so that you can color in different areas of the full image with each stencil. And so it's not the kind of stencil that is what you would normally call a layering stencil, where it is designed so that you can actually stencil parts of the same area and apply, generally it's light to dark, so that you can get that look of a highlight and some shadow. This is designed so that each stencil, of which there are 5, actually stencils a different area completely than the any of the other stencils. So it's kind of nice in that it does let you kind of add some different variety to your coloring, but just keep in mind that this is the type of stencil where you're coloring each distinct area as opposed to kind of overlapping your stenciling and creating that light, mid, dark. Now you can still have a light, mid, dark, or highlights and shadows. That's just dependent on how you actually apply your ink. So for example, I'm applying much more pigment to the centers of the individual leaves of the poinsettia flower, and as I blend that out to the tips of the leaf, I am not grabbing more ink. I'm just pushing whatever ink happens to be on my brush to those outer edges so that it has the effect of less color or a lighter color, more of a pink than a red. And I'm going for a very monochromatic look, and I'm not looking to actually color in the whole thing either. I just did a little bit of, I colored the flower in full, but there are a lot of holly berries too, and I only colored a few of those. And as well, there's a pine cone and some leaves, which I didn't color at all. So I'm leaving it all very, very monochromatic, and I did foil this in red and inked it in red. So everything is just red or white. But I thought that to make everything pop just a little bit more, I'm gonna add a black frame around my my glimmered panel. And I knew I was going to do that, so I did glimmer up my sentiments, and I actually glimmered them using a black foil, which I know might seem a little bit underwhelming because it's black, it doesn't have like a metallic look to it, but it still does have that sheen that foil gives you. The nice thing with black is that it basically, if you like the sentiment and black, and it's not something that you can like ink up because it's a glimmer plate, it is nice to have black foil so that it almost looks like you've maybe done some heat embossing. It doesn't have quite, that raised texture of a heat embossed, but it does have that shine of a heat embossed sentiment. So I'm finding it pretty helpful to have black foil. I bought the roll years ago, and I think I went like a year without using it, and I've used it a couple times now just in the last month. And so it's not, it's definitely one of those things that I don't think to grab, but now that I have it out and I see it, that's really the trick for me, is if I have something out and I see it, I'm more likely to grab it and use it than if I have it stored and tucked away. I'm a very, out of sight, out of mind kind of crafter. So that just means that I need to periodically pull out some of those supplies and just leave them out so that I can, remember that I have them and put them to use. So I am going to add a couple of more different touches to this card. And I don't want to add color, so what I thought I might do was add some diamond glaze, which has the effect of making something look very glossy and also have a bit of dimension to it as well. So I've added that to the holly berries that I colored in, but I also added it to a couple of holly berries that aren't colored in at all. Again, that just gives it, it's not going to add any color, it's perfectly clear, but it does add some shine and it adds some dimension. And then now I'm taking the, this is sort of, I don't know the color, it's, oh, okay, I've got it here. It's opal quartz, and it's a Nouveau shimmer pen. And it's really great. It's sort of like Wink of Stella, but this has a lot more of a iridescent look to it. So what I've done is brushed it onto not all, but some of the poinsettia leaves, and you can kind of see it has turned it almost pinkish, and that's that iridescent shine that is catching the light in a different way and just adding that look to it. And for the holly berries that didn't have anything, so some have some of that red ink with the diamond glaze over top, some are just white with diamond glaze, and then the rest I'm actually coloring in with this opal quartz. And so using all of these different media supplies just to add a different finishing effect as opposed to more color is another way of just adding some interest to what's otherwise a very monochromatic card, but it's got its interest just based on those different finishes, the shine, the shimmer, just tilting it to give it a different look as you look at it at different angles in the light. So to finish up my card, I've already got my black panel onto my card base here, and I did rush things a little bit. I don't think my opal quartz, that shimmer pen, was fully dry yet, because you can see it left a little bit on my mat there. But if you just give it a little bit of time, it'll dry, and that wouldn't be a problem. But then with the sentiment, what I did was I glimmered up this is actually the Comfort and Joy Glimmer plate, and also it's part of this collection. It's pretty cool because, okay, so there's actually 2 Glimmer plates that have on each of them 5 sentiments. And you can glimmer them up, and then using 1 die, cut all 5 at the same time. And what's also cool is that it's not just a straight sentiment, it's actually got a little bit of a pretty gentle curve to it, which is kind of cool. And also, that curve reminds me of something. I don't know if it's a stamp set or another die that I have from Spellbinders, but it is the kind of curve where it's ever so slight. So if you did have a straight, like a regular stamp sentiment, and you wanted to use these banners for that, you could definitely do that. And just as you're applying the sentiment stamp onto your acrylic block or your stamping platform, you can just kind of nudge it a little bit to match that curve. And I did cut it out of just plain black cardstock to add a drop shadow to my little sentiment banner there. That way it helps to lift that whole banner off from the background a bit. So here's a final look at my card today. I feel like glimmer plates like these are just so wonderful because you really don't need to add much more to it, but it's really nice to have the coordinating stencils to color in that image really quickly. And I like the idea of just playing with different media supplies just to add different interest and finishes to the image without really adding any extra or different colors. I'll leave links to everything in the description box below in case you're interested to check any of that out. Thank you to everybody who does shop my affiliate links. I'm super grateful to you. And thanks for watching. And until next time, happy crafting and have a fabulous day. Bye.